Pickups are getting larger and larger. Way back when, compact pickup trucks were actually a thing. And no, I don't mean the Suzuki Mighty Boy, although, yes, I still do want to own one. Nor do I mean the wonderful mid-1960s Morris Minor pickup that's sitting for sale in my local town that calls my name every time I go past on the way to the shops. One day, it'll be mine. No, right now I'm talking about the massive growth in size that pickups from mainstream companies have undergone in recent years. But while pickup trucks get larger and larger with each successive generation, both in terms of their length, width, and ride height, the actual load-carrying capabilities of pickup trucks haven't really changed all that much in the last few decades. In fact, if anything, the average pickup truck has gotten slightly smaller with its load-carrying capabilities as each new generation of truck launches, partly because the cabin space in each vehicle is just getting larger and larger. And we're left with a weird situation where many so-called full-size pickup trucks can't easily accommodate things that were once pretty easy for full-size pickup trucks to accommodate, like an 8-foot by 4-foot piece of plywood. So what if I told you that there's a pickup truck that's just been announced that is technically 2 classes smaller than most pickups on the road today? A compact pickup, yet it has the same or better load-carrying capabilities and an extended cab and a fully customizable space within the cabin for your specific needs, not to mention onboard power, lots of power at the wheels, and a quasi-forward control layout that maximizes the internal and external space as much as possible. Well, that's the reality for electric vehicle startup Canoo, which has just unveiled a pickup variant of its modular electric car platform. Revealed during a live event and teased yesterday through what felt like a planned leak, the pickup is based on the same modular customizable platform that Canoo's other proposed vehicles sit upon. While official specs and naming aren't forthcoming right now, Canoo has said that the unnamed pickup will be offered with rear or all-wheel drive capabilities, with an expected maximum power at the wheels of around 447 kilowatts in all-wheel drive mode. Range is expected to be around the 200-mile or 321-kilometre mark, which is slightly less than the 250-mile or 402-kilometre range of Canoo's first showcased vehicle, the Canoo Lifestyle vehicle, neither of which have entered into production yet. Both vehicles are based on the same chassis and drivetrain, or skateboard if you'd prefer to use the proper term, so why is there this difference? Well, part of that, of course, is down to the aerodynamic differences between the two vehicles. One has a pickup bed, which is notorious for being unaerodynamic, while the other does not. But with DC quick charging offered as standard, along with what I suspect will be the same 80 kilowatt-hour battery pack, this pickup should offer a practical range well within the needs of 90% of consumers. While the Canoo's pickup design is very different to most pickups on the market today, it actually allows the vehicle to maximise on space because there's no engine, there's no need for an engine bay, which eliminates the standard hood that most pickups have. And this means that the driver sits far further forward in what almost looks like a forward control configuration. I say almost because technically it isn't, but let's explain forward control anyway. If you have spent any time around old school Land Rover 101s, Pingalas, and of course the original Volkswagen Type 2, all of which offered a similar relationship between the front cab and the wheels, you might know what is meant by forward control. In these vehicles, the driver's cab sits above or between the front wheels, giving the driver incredible visibility of the road ahead. Easier manoeuvring in tight spaces because they can see what's going on, and sometimes, but not always, better turning circles. You'll notice I said that the Canoo Pickup isn't quite a forward control vehicle, and that's because technically it isn't. While the windscreen does slope down to a blunt nose and there is an unobstructed view of the road ahead for the driver, the front seats actually sit behind the front wheels. Inside, the driver sits behind a drive-by-wire steering column with all of the usual controls you'd find in any other vehicle. The first drive-by-wire EV that is promised for the marketplace. With no steering column, there's no risk of it encroaching into the passenger safety cell in a collision, something that's a common cause for driver-sustained leg injuries. And with the steering all drive-by-wire, the inside of the Canoo Pickup is incredibly spacious for its size. Plus, because it's all electric in its steering, customers can dial in their own preferred setup to give them their preferred steering response. During its reveal event for the pickup, Canoo said that it would be configurable with several different seating options, from bucket seats to bench seats, and the inside cabin area can also be customized to include everything from toolboxes to IT tech. That drive-by-wire and not quite forward control also means that the Canoo platform is, it's claimed, the world's flattest skateboard platform for an EV. The suspension is set up with double wishbones and fiberglass leaf springs. That might seem a little old school, apart from the fiberglass bit, but again, it ensures that nothing from the suspension system is any higher than the height of the actual tyres. So now let's look at the clever bits. Like several other electric pickups coming to market, the Rivian R1T and Tesla Cybertruck come to mind, the Canoo Pickup has a couple of tricks up its sleeve. At the front of the vehicle, while there's not actually a frunk, there's a storage area at desk height whose door can fold down to produce a desk or workbench. There's also workbenches and desks at each side of the vehicle. Modular power takeoff points are available, and I say modular because you can choose between mains power, USB and other power choices, which means you can run power tools on the go, or perhaps even put a cooler in that front storage space and plug it in while you're driving along. In the back, there's also a slew of power sockets and tie-downs, all of which can be configured by the customer in a similar modular way to suit their needs. But what's perhaps really interesting is the way in which the load bay area can be extended. Of course, most pickup trucks on the market today have some form of extendable load bay. You normally do this by dropping down the tailgate, which allows you to carry 8-foot by 4-foot sheets of plywood in the back without too much hassle. In the case of the Canoo Pickup, though, things are a little more clever, more sophisticated. There's an extra slide-out load bay piece that you can grab and pull on and slot into place at the rear of the vehicle, which extends the load bay outwards and even moves the license plate outwards as well. Then the rear pickup doors, which split and swing sideways, form the extra sides of the extended bed. Inside those doors are extra doors which then swing back into place at the rear, completing the extended load bay space. This is different to the cargo door found on, say, the Bollinger B2 pickup, and nearer to what the Tesla Cybertruck is going to offer. It has an extra flip-down space to extend the cargo area, but no sidewall extensions as far as I know. I think it's a smart solution and it should work for the occasional bit of lumber carrying that you might want to do. And unlike the Bollinger B2, where you have to essentially open up the rear of the cab space, the Canoo option keeps the cabin space nicely separated. When talking about electric pickups, we can't not talk about the gear tunnel found in the Rivian R1T, the door for which doubles as a step to help you put things into the pickup bed from the side of the truck, or indeed mount things to the roof of the vehicle. In the Canoo Pickup's case, it too has a side step, one that slides out at just the right height to give you access to the load bay and roof area. But rather than just operate as a step or a flip-down door, it hides customizable compartments that you can use to store tools and other small items. In the demonstration, Canoo highlighted how it would be a perfect place to store a first aid kit, or in fact, anything else that you needed immediate access to in an emergency. Sliding beneath the load bay floor, this area is secure and doesn't impact what you can actually carry in the rear load bay area. Frankly, I'd love to see this in a broadcast truck of some sort with the kind of feature for on and off-road adventures. Which brings me to who this is for. Right now, this vehicle isn't expected to go on sale for at least another year, and Canoo has a long way to go before any of its vehicles are ready for market. But it does have prototypes out on the road, and they seem to be working just fine. And with Canoo's planned ownership models, where you effectively lease rather than own the car, I can see this pickup being a great addition to Canoo's fleet, as it would hopefully offer similar or identical driver dynamics to the rest of its lineup. And this would make it ideal for folks who don't normally own or drive a pickup to borrow one at the weekend to go and get some DIY stuff, especially if they own one of Canoo's passenger-facing vehicles on a lease plan. Canoo, like every other automaker out there, also wants to make its fleet autonomous, so again, there is a potential for future delivery of those vehicles at your house when you need them. I don't see this being an off-road demon, although I could be wrong. And interestingly, Canoo also showcased an optional camper top that you could add to the pickup, turning it into something that's far closer to the iconic T2 camper van than I have seen from any other EV that's promised or on the market at this time. Sure, it's a bit weird to look at from the front. It looks a little like it'd be better at home on Mars, but having not driven one or even ridden in one, and with Canoo not yet having any vehicles on the road, I can't really provide any concrete expectations as to how it will drive or perform. But from a design point of view, it's clever, very clever. Like the Tesla Cybertruck, however, I think it may be too unusual for many mainstream buyers. But then again, Tesla has so many pre-reservations for the Cybertruck, I've learned that I shouldn't pass judgment too quickly. What do you think? That's it for today. As always, thanks to the folks on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month Patreon supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month Patreons, John Lyons, Regine Fellows, Anonymous Freak, Paul Conway, Laura Sandborn, Anthony Coates, Sean Ueda and Tesla in the Gong, and our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters. Those are Marcel Ward, Jeffrey Songster, Reggie Watts, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin and Ian. You can join all of these amazing Patreon supporters by becoming one yourself. You'll follow a link below to do that, or you could also follow one of the links below to send us a tip through Ko-fi or Bitcoin if you prefer to support us that way. Below you'll also find a link to our Discord chat server, which is completely free to join, so please give it a go if you're feeling chatty. And as usual, you'll find everything from t-shirts to face masks, water bottles, hoodies, and everything else at our Redbubble store. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving!